What's up, everyone? It's your boy Matt Diazzo coming at you with some new music reviews. And today I'm checking out Chelsea Grin's double album release from 2023, Sufferinhell and Sufferinheaven. Ooh. A little background on Chelsea Grin is that they come from Salt Lake City, Utah, and they started this band back in 2008. It was under a different name with a lot of different members. Since about 2018, no original members from the start of this band are still in this band. Except for maybe the bass player who's been he wasn't an original member, but he's played on every album. And 2018 was a big year for them because I think that was the same year that they got their latest vocalist, Tom Barber, from the band Lorna Shore. He dropped out of that band, came to this band, and they've been able to reinvent themselves a little bit because they are always like a deathcore, metalcore band. They mixed in some melodic parts here and there throughout their career. But now with this new incarnation of Chelsea Grin, I think they went even more into the death metal and more of like the extreme metal side of things with these particular albums. The first album released in this double package was Sufferinhell, and you got to be prepared because you're about to get dragged to hell on this album because they got some soul-ripping riffs, skin-blistering percussions, and some crazy demonic style vocals. These guys are really taking the whole concept album here very seriously by bringing the raging fires of hell to your doorstep with this album. And I think one thing that really takes that like next step in their huge evolution of heavy music is that their vocalist here, his vocal endurance on this album is just ridiculous. Like some of the vocal like patterns, not vocal patterns, but his screams and everything are just straight demonic, especially on the song Sufferinhell, Sufferinheaven. Like it's just a 2-minute long breakdown and him just doing the nastiest gutturals and horrific sounding vocals that I want to play a clip for you so you can see the sense of immense vocal performance he's giving off here on this album. He is so dialed in on here. It's impressive. Now, we can't just give all the praise to Mr. Barber on this album because he's doing a fantastic job, but also the band themselves are doing just as equally as a great job as he is, especially in terms of like the bass and drums. They sound really huge. They're just pummeling you with their sound, and they're just consistently hard and fast, especially on the opening track, Origin of Sin. The bass and drum combinations just sound really good and fluid. So I want to play a clip of that for you. They have such a good tight unit here. The guitars on here are very manic and very frantic and have a really good shreddy feel to it. And they have a nice variation throughout this album, but from being super heavy and low tuned to really fast and I guess more like streamlined death metal style. They just don't stick to one lane in this particular album. They try to do things very differently and keep it fresh. And I think a good example of that is on the song Ionist. They just have a really cool like tuning and play style in the middle of the song that just sounds really nice that I think you should check out. The combination of his cleaner vocals there and everything makes the song sound really refreshing. First we suffered in hell, and then now we go into suffering in heaven. And I gotta say, if this is what heaven sounds like, we might as well just say stayed in hell because there's not too much of a difference here. Not saying necessarily a bad thing, but you're pretty much getting verbatim a similar album with this second album, Sufferinheaven. The second album really picks up right where Sufferinhell ends. And I gotta say, even though it's nothing too flashy and too like, I'm gonna say not impressive, they're putting all their talents into this album. They're not really holding anything back. Everything sounds massive, huge, and quite impressive. It's just that Suffering Hell, when you first listen to it compared to the Suffering Heaven, it just seems more big, bold, and ambitious. While this one, still big and bold and ambitious, but just not as a strong hitter as Suffering Hell. You're still getting lots of vocal variation here, some ripping riffs, bass that has a really good groove and bounce to it on this particular album, and drums that are just really tight and blasting away. It's yeah, pretty much the same what you get from Suffering Hell, but you know, you're just getting more of that big, massive sound. It's nothing necessarily bad, especially on the opening song "Leave With Us." They're just playing really hard and very solid, and just sound great while making these heavy songs. So I want to play a clip of that for you. Bit more of a groovy song, but you can still see that they're going hard. They're putting all their talents into this. I would say between the two albums, the album Sufferinheaven definitely has a bit of a more of a groovier and somewhat vibrant sound in terms of like how the guitars and bass are being played. Sufferinhell is just very aggressive, hard, and just, you know, heavy. This album is still pretty heavy, but it's got a little bit more of a little bit of a I would say spice to it in terms of grooviness. Like on the song Soul Slave, it's a very short song, but it has some nice bounce to it. So I want to play a clip of that for you. Bouncy and groovy. Another thing I would say about this album, it seems like the first album they just were going all off on all cylinders. Nothing ever really felt like they were losing steam or energy. But on the Sufferinheaven side of things, towards the end of the album, besides maybe Sing You to the Grave, it just seems like they are a little bit low in energy. I don't know, maybe even though it's still very death metal, hard and heavy sounding, it just felt a little bit just more toned down a bit, I think. And I think a good like notion of that is on the song The Path to Suffering. It's still high energy, but something about it just seems a little bit off. I think that they went a little bit chiller and groovier with this the second album, like I said, and so some of that energy kind of like just feels a little bit lost compared to the first album. So those are my thoughts on this double album from Chelsea Grin, Sufferinhell, Sufferinheaven. I would say like overall production wise, both albums sound amazing. They have a huge, crispy, large sound to them. Vocally, super heavy vocals, super demonic gutturals, lots of vocal fries in terms of variation. Guitar riffs, very, very shreddy, very heavy, good groove to them, and they sounding really tight. Drums as well, got a big, big, bold sound to them, and nothing really drops in quality in terms of like how the drumming is. It's fast, tight, keeping everything really on pace. The bass is just as heavy and adds a lot of grooviness and oomphness to the albums. I would say all the band members seem to be pulling their weight on this album. On these albums, I just think over compared to it's like if you look at one big album, like the first half of the album with Sufferinhell, it's just on it. There's nothing really bad. It's just firing at all cylinders. While Sufferinheaven, it just lacks a little bit at times. It feels a little bit too mild. And so it can feel a little bit lackluster, but not in a major way where it can be disappointing, because both of these albums are quite fantastic. They do a really good job of making the deathcore, death metal style that they're playing here very interesting to listen to and very fun. And like I said, it has a really good production, so that helps a lot. And I think sonically, lyrically, the songs are all pretty straightforward and sound really good. I feel like I'm rambling on here about this, but I would say Sufferinhell is a good, solid 9 out of 10, while Sufferinheaven is still up there, Just a little bit dip in quality. I would say 8.5 out of 10. And I gotta say, that's impressive to put out a double album, have two of them, both of them sounding damn near perfect and everything. That's a great feat, and these guys did a good job. And it just shows with time and patience and putting some real effort into your music, you can make some really good stuff. So Chelsea Grin, new albums, they did a great job. Links down below. Tell me what you think. I'm Matt from Giazable. Thanks for stopping on by. And until next time, guys, I will see you in the pit.